the most famous person of all time. Michael Jackson had the power to make fans faint simply by standing still. His size and popularity is something we'll probably never see again, so it's no surprise to find his influence scattered everywhere across the rap industry. From the music he made to the clothes he wore, Michael Jackson's legacy lives on through many modern day artists. Kanye West is the perfect place to begin this video, and is it a surprise that Ye was so successful when he was influenced heavily by Michael Jackson? Listen to this quote from Kanye back in 2013.
Like for me as Kanye West, I would not be Kanye West if it wasn't for Michael Jackson.
The impact of MJ on Kanye is undeniable, but no one realizes just how much he owes to the king of pop. He's mentioned Jackson in 11 out of his 12 albums up until Donda. Here are some of the best ones. If you mention someone this many times on your songs, they must have a big influence upon you. This statement holds true, especially when we look at the creation of 808s and Heartbreaks. The groundbreaking project has inspired many artists since its release, but did you know it might not have been made without Michael Jackson? After Kanye received hate for passing Michael for the most top 40 hits, his daughter, Paris Jackson, came out and defended Ye, stating that Michael was a big fan of his and played 808s and Heartbreaks for her all the time. But that wasn't the only reason MJ is associated with the album. Kanye said that he is the one that put the battery into my back to do 808s.
I think Michael the one that put that battery in my back to do 808s.
Due to Michael being a fan of Kanye singing on the song Good Life.
I played Good Life, and he was like, who's that singing right there? I like that voice. It was my voice. He gassed me up. Next thing y'all know, y'all had me in the night here. Like,
obviously, with the whole album being something completely different, Kanye needed the validation from Michael in order to complete it. And from that point onwards, he would continue making classics such as Heartless, because if Michael Jackson told me I could sing,
fuck all y'all, you know.
Kanye also took inspiration from Michael Jackson outside of music. He's wore outfits that pay homage to the king of pop, but more importantly, he compares himself, stating that he's got a long way to go if he wants to outdress Michael. Clearly, Kanye has a massive respect for the artist, although this interview is from all the way back in 2009, so his opinion may have changed by now. Even so, the respect between the artists is clear, and it is just our first example of Michael Jackson's influence on the rap game. Let's take a step back from artists that Michael Jackson has impacted and look at some minor things. I touched upon his fashion influence, but I didn't quite emphasize just how many artists have paid homage to Michael by wearing one of his iconic fits. Whilst The Weeknd may not actually be considered a rapper, he's certainly involved in the industry, and he is a perfect example of someone who's been hugely influenced by Michael Jackson, both music and fashion wise. From the early stages of Abel's career, the fact he took inspiration from Michael Jackson was clear. There's small homages that the artist has paid to MJ throughout his career, things that could have been missed if you weren't paying attention. Like the fact that Quincy Jones, who is responsible for Jackson's Off the Wall, Thriller and Bad, appears on Dawn FM, which is The Weeknd's latest album. The Weeknd has even covered Jackson's Dirty Diana as an opener to his Echoes of Silence mixtape, giving us a darker vibe to the song. Abel spoke about the song and the influence of MJ in an interview with LA Times. He states that there will never be another Michael, with Off the Wall being the album that inspired The Weeknd to sing, helping him find his voice. Furthermore, it was the song Bad that made Abel want to be a songwriter. If we get back on the topic of Dirty Diana, he admits it's his favourite song of all time due to it taking several genres and putting them all into one song, which may be a reason that The Weeknd has dove into several genres over the course of his career. Now, The Weeknd may have been heavily influenced by Michael Jackson, but people claim he is the closest thing to MJ since he passed away, and you could certainly see why someone would have this opinion. His voice, style, popularity, whilst it still isn't comparable to the king of pop, it's probably the closest resemblance of his since his passing. Timbaland thought the same, comparing The Weeknd's Dawn FM album to MJ's Thriller, stating that the album is amazing. Whilst it may not be on that level, it's clear that the opinion of MJ and The Weeknd being similar is shared upon many people. As for the fashion side of things, Abel wears many outfits that people consider to be inspired by MJ. He has stated that they mean other things, however, like the After Hours suit for example. People thought it was him taking after Jackson, but he had another explanation and reasoning for it. Whilst Abel may not have paid homage during his performances, or so he says, other artists certainly have, with a huge one being Kendrick Lamar, wearing a Jackson-style outfit during his live Super Bowl performance. Michael is yet again a huge inspiration for Kendrick, stating that he'd be his top 3 choices for artists to collaborate with, dead or alive. We can see evidence of his respect of the artist on his To Pimp a Butterfly album, on which he interpolates MJ's Smooth Criminal during Kim Kunta, and once again where he name drops him on Mortal Man. Moving on to another Canadian in Drake, who is one of the only rappers to have a collaboration with Michael, and it occurred after his death. Jackson recorded the unheard vocals back in the 80s, and Drake then must have purchased the rights to the vocals and put him on the song Don't Matter to Me, which is found on his Scorpion album. And for some odd reason, the decision was made to use auto-tune on Jackson's chorus. Either way, Drake has stated that Michael was one of his biggest influences all the way back in 2009, saying that it made him realise just how powerful an entertainer could be, and that he got lost in Michael Jackson, his imagery, music, choices of art, etc. In a Nardwuar interview, Drake talks about watching Jackson documentaries and claiming that he, MJ, is the greatest entertainer of all time. Then, in a future 2017 interview, Drake said, "I want to be like Michael Jackson," which shows the sheer influence he had over all of these huge artists. Even whilst being dead, he is still remembered and mentioned like he never left. Drake paid tribute to Michael in his Way Too Sexy video, dressing like Jackson from the Black or White music video, and busting some of his moves as well. Safe to say, Drake should stick to the music side of things. Not many people, aside from Drake, get clearance to sample Michael Jackson, but A Boogie with the Hoodie is one of those people. Interpolating You Rock My World and Remember the Time on his hit song Look Back at It, he's expressed his gratefulness on Hot 97, receiving a sample clearance as, in his own words, nobody really gets to do that. A Boogie is one of the most vocal Jackson supporters in the rap industry, constantly reminding fans of his influence on him and paying homage to him in fashion and music. He said that Michael influenced his artistry in every way, joking that although he can't dance, he used to act like MJ, performing all of his dance moves. The songs he sampled on Look Back at It are included on Boogie's top 5 MJ songs of all time, which really made the song special to him. Like I said, A Boogie constantly reminds fans of Michael Jackson, even naming tracks after his, like Billie Jean on Hoodie Season. The artist says he feels like he is the rapping version of Michael in the way that he expresses himself on a track in a hip hop and R&B way, and that if Michael was to rap, A Boogie's style is how he would have done it. He also claims that MJ is the GOAT, which I don't disagree with him on. Who else do you think is inspired by the King of Pop? Let me know in the comments. Sorry for the long wait for the content, but we're back.